Hi, and welcome back. I am still on page 7, and in this video I want to go back through the paragraph that we wrote, the one that is written correctly, and I want to annotate that using our annotation key. So we're going to start with green. Your green highlighter or pen or crayon, whatever you're using is fine. I want to know if you can tell me what the topic of this paragraph is about, what the topic is. Remember, topics are just one or two words that give you the main focus of the paragraph. And in this case, it's solstice and equinox. So let's highlight those in green. Okay, so what about those two things, solstice and equinox? Well, there are 4 important days related to seasons. So all of this is going to tie together. So our keywords, our yellow highlights, are going to be those 4 things. So we have to look down through there and find the 4 things. Now remember, we're talking about solstice and equinox, and I need 4 of them. So here is summer solstice, winter solstice, autumnal equinox, and vernal equinox. My keywords have solstice or equinox. That's why they're keywords, because they relate back to that topic. They also relate to the main idea. The 4 important days are those 4 days in yellow. So then we need to go back with our pink highlighter and get the details. In other words, what is summer solstice? Well, it's the start of summer, and it's the day with the most daylight hours. The winter solstice is the start of winter. It's the day with the least amount of daylight. The first day of fall is the autumnal equinox. The first day of spring is the vernal equinox. And those days have equal amounts of daylight and darkness. So I've got my details. They're still a little hard to understand though. So we don't have the 4-door thing or a flower here, but here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring my first yellow term down here, which is summer solstice. These are the yellow terms. And what are the details about summer solstice? It is the start of summer. It's the first day of summer. And it has the most daylight. This is the longest day of the year because the sun is out longer on this day than any other day. So that is the summer solstice. And again, that's one of my key words. That's what I'm doing here. This is the pink part. This is the detail part. Okay, so then we have the winter solstice. And it tells me up here that the winter solstice is the start of winter. And it's not the longest day, it's the least amount of daylight. So it's the shortest day. You know how in the winter time the days are short, it gets dark very early. That's because of the tilt of the earth. And in the diagram that we're going to look at on the next page, that will help you to understand that a little bit more. But winter solstice is the shortest day of the year. It's the least amount of daylight. Okay, we got 2 of them. We got to do 2 more. So the next one that's mentioned is the first day of fall, called the autumnal autumn, fall. Autumnal equa means the same. Equinox. So in the fall, the days are equal on this particular day. The hours of daylight are the same. So here's the key word. Let's get the details for this one. We know it's the first day of fall. And just to help illustrate this, if it's equal daylight and darkness, that means there's 12 hours of day and 12 hours of dark, because there are 24 hours in a day. So 12 hours of each make an equinox. They're equal. Okay, and then finally the vernal, which means spring. So in the spring we have another one of these equal days. And you probably can figure this one out without even looking back at the text. If autumnal equinox is the first day of fall, vernal equinox is the first day of spring. We're coming up on that in March. And just like in the fall, we have 12 hours of day and 12 hours of night on this particular day. Okay, so I can tell from reading this passage, the main idea of this passage is about these 4 important days. And I can tell just by reading this and comprehending it that on 2 days of the year, in the fall and spring, there are equal daylight and darkness hours. And then in the summer, we get the longest day. In the winter, we get the shortest day. I would say this passage is pretty hard. This is harder than the one on the seasons, I think. I wrote this one to be a little more difficult. Also, we don't have the graphic organizers, and those make it much easier, at least for me, to understand. But you see how annotating and making those notes helps me to break down the passage and to understand what it's talking about. I am really coming down to just the bare bones. I could almost do this. I don't want you to do this, but watch this for me. What if I took out this, this, this? I'll quit saying this. I'm taking away everything that I didn't highlight. And I know you can't do that, but you can watch me do it here. And then we'll just read what we have left. We'll read the bare bones. This is all that was left. I took out the words that we didn't highlight. Solstice and equinox. There are 4 important days related to the season. Start of summer, summer solstice, most daylight hours. Start of winter, winter solstice, least amount of daylight. First day of fall, autumnal equinox. First day of spring, vernal equinox. Equal amounts of daylight and darkness. You see how I have eliminated all that extra stuff that really doesn't contribute to the story. Now, I will say that this is a tougher paragraph than the one we did before. But what we're trying to do is eliminate everything but the bare bones. Let me go back to page 3, and you don't have to do this. Let's just go right. I can't do it on this one because I didn't handwrite it. But if you were to go through and take out all of the stuff that was not highlighted, you would have just the bare bones. And that's what reading is about. We are looking for the bare bones information, just the basic facts that we need to comprehend. And you're learning how to do that. These are still pretty basic paragraphs compared to some that we're going to see. But as you learn more and more, your skills will get better and better. And that's what we're going for. Okay, I will see you in the next video, and we will talk about the seasons a little bit more with our diagram. I will tell you that on the chapter test for this unit, there is some information about solstice and equinox. There are some questions, but you'll be able to use your book if you need it to answer those. So I don't want you to worry about memorizing this stuff. Just so you have the notes and you can look back, that will be fine. So don't worry about memorizing. Just make sure that you have the notes so you can use them on the test. Okay, have a good day, and I will see you soon.